Welcome to this.podcast, where it's all about dope people, dope conversations, and compelling story. I'm your friendly host, Jay, joined by my brother and friends. We got Mike.
You ready to boogie with that bear?
We got Co.
Man, what we talking about?
And then we got Uncle Damo.
Oh, my name is Uncle Damo.
You can find this.podcast at linktree/this.podcast, and it'll meet you where you're at. Apple, Spotify, and we got viewership on YouTube. So go to linktree/this.podcast. Shout out to the incredible Lawrence and Larimer Clothing and Supply Company for providing this beautiful opportunity for us. You can check them on 3225 East Colfax, Denver, Colorado. Come to the store and cop some designer clothing. Right, JC?
LawrenceandLarimer.com. Right?
There we go. Yeah, Lawrence and Larimer.
Yeah, you ain't got to come to the store.
He back there working hard, sweating. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he got a heavy load tonight.
Well, it's hard to...
There it is. You got to support. Stay on that thing for like 10 seconds.
That was good.
Oh my God.
Absolutely.
Hey man, but it's kind of hard to, I mean, it's not easy to sweat when you got that George Jefferson shadow up there.
Man, what we talking about?
All right. Well, let's get into things because today we have a special guest who is a Denver native representing the Montbello neighborhood. Started a successful podcast called Life is Dope and merch, owner of the Plug Production Company, and is now a host of a new podcast called The Check-In on Power 109 Radio, the app. Make sure you go there, download it. But we're so excited to have this guest because he's in the same space we are. We've been trying to make this work for a while now, and this busy man finally has time for us. So give a shout out to Graffiti.
Hey.
Yeah, glad to have you on the show.
Man, thank you for having me, bro. We have been working on it for a minute.
We have, man.
We got it together, man. Shit.
Absolutely, man, because I'm excited about this because you're in the same space we are, and I would say you're the original podcaster, especially from this area in Denver. I think
that.
You know, what's funny about this, man, is like as we were coming up with our whole brand and logo and things like that, you know, the keyword dope, all this all over the place. And then I did a search and Life is Dope came up. And I was like, oh, this looks like, you know, like something that's been done already. You know what I mean? Because you started that in 2017, right? And you were very successful with that podcast and got it to a point where you had all kind of special guests coming on, not only locally, but, you know, people on the national level from Bun B, Mathematics from the Wu-Tang, Carlos Miller from the 85 South Show. Like, you were already there. You had the plug. You know what I mean? Yeah. And for us to now be late to the game and see the things you've done, like I would say it's pretty inspiring for us to see, oh, you know, that path does work. You know what I'm saying? But now you've moved on to other dope things, and now you got your production company and things like that. But we're glad to have you, man. Like,
man, thank you for having me. It's all comfortable and hospitable, man.
Oh,
yeah, for sure, man, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Got me that
icy water. Y'all said some water. Usually my shit be warm. I'm like, that Arctic water over here. Hey, we try to do it right.
Word, absolutely, man. So, you know what? I think this is going to be more of a conversation because you're used to being on the mic. You got that radio voice. You already know how this thing goes.
It's weird for me to not start interviewing you. So I'm trying to get used to being on the other side. You know
No, absolutely, because you're usually in this seat, right? You're usually the one that's like probing, creating a conversation, but now you are the conversation.
Right.
So let's talk about some things, man. Like, first of all, maybe we should dive into the check-in. Like, what was the impetus behind that? Why did you go from Life is Dope to now a successful podcast, you know, as far as viewership, to the check-in today?
So it was an interesting transition. Really what it was, man, so just a little history on Life is Dope. I started the Dope brand long time ago, like coming out of high school.
Okay.
Like It used to be called Fresh, but I transitioned it to Dope. And shout out to my guy Jeremy Pape. He had a movement going on. It was called Welcome to the Dope Game. Basically, I mean, that's kind of self-explanatory. If you're from where we're from.
Yeah.
But we was trying to flip it on something positive. You know what I mean? It's don't oppress, positive energy.
Got
so
it.
we was all, you know, it was like Jeremy, Dope, Graffiti, Dope. You know what I mean? Like it was kind of just the squad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
But we all had hands in creative things. So, you know, like Jeremy's a videographer, whatever. So that's kind of where that brand stemmed from. And it's also some other things influenced that. But I had that brand just as, you know, my company, my clothing, my merch, all that. I just kind of just branded the fuck out of Dope. Like that was my whole mission. Like when you hear the word Dope in Denver, you gotta say Graffiti. That was kind of just my focus.
Your whole
you know
flow.
what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
Can you say one more time? I think like people might not have heard that.
Yeah.
What does dope mean?
So don't oppress, positive energy.
There you go.
Yeah. So that's the whole lifestyle.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, just it's positive lifestyle. And again, that just comes from, you know, us coming from not such a positive background. And it's like you say dope, you know, older cats be like, you know what it is. And that's what it was. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
we're trying to show you this could be something different. And I used to tell people, because I started out, you know, with the designs and the T-shirts and all that. I'm like, this ain't nothing but bag and dope. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. It's wholesaling, it's supply and demand, it's re-upping, it's flipping. This is the same game. But let's do something positive. It ain't going to get us arrested. You know what I mean? So it started with just putting dope on T-shirts, hats, whatever. People gravitated to it. And then fast forward up to 2012, I had a birthday party, and I was like, you know what, man? Let's just say life is dope because it's a celebration. Like, it's called a birthday party. Life is dope. That's what it was. It wasn't nothing bigger than that. Just call it Life is Dope. I ain't getting no invite.
I didn't get
I didn't
invited.
get no invite.
I guess I wasn't
I'm
dope.
like a dinosaur. Though.
It got lost. it got lost in the email. But so the party itself was called Life is Dope. You know, 'cause I dabble in party promotions as well. So we did it at Epernay, and I had Method Man and Redman host it.
Wow.
Because my birthday is April 18th. So it always kind of falls into 420 type stuff.
Yeah.
But I had Method Man and Redman host it, and I just printed out some shirts, Life is Dope, just some merch to give out to whoever came to the party.
Got it.
That phrase itself started kind of like people was hashtagging, you know what I mean? Like, let me get some of them Life is Dope shirts. I'm like, oh, that was just for the party. That ain't. But I'm
That's
like,
not a thing. Like, yeah.
That's kind of, this might be the move over just dope, you know what I mean? So I just started branding that. Like, well, shit, here, Life is Dope. Life is Dope. Put some stickers, gave people all kind of merch and shit. Fast forward from there, shout out to my guy Davey. So Davey boy's he won't say it, but he's one of the dopest and most slept on like secret weapon producers in Denver. Like this nigga got credits with T-Pain and like everybody.
Oh,
dog.
wow.
Like he working with Zaytoven and Jordan Sparks right now. That's literally what he doing right now. He'll never tell you that, especially on the podcast. You would never even fucking know.
Yeah.
But
he's humble, right? Like
Yeah.
that's his personality.
Yeah,
When I hear him on the show, he's
super humble.
Yeah.
So that's my guy from, you know, forever.
And this is the singing dude.
Yeah. Sing, produce, all that.
Yeah.
So he was like, bro, we should start a podcast just based on our social following, our community following. Like people knew our energy when we together, we funny or whatever. He's like, we should start a podcast. And this is coming off me already being kind of in radio, and I was doing online radio, actual radio. And I wasn't really thinking of it as podcasting. Right. But I was already doing what was considered podcasting. You know, like when you say like one of the original podcasters, I never even thought about it like that. But you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
No, absolutely. Flex on him, man.
Yeah.
So stay in there though, because it's funny how you've built into the podcast. For us, we're latecomers. We just jumped right in, right? And you kind of built this following on social media. And I think I saw a post the other day. You think that was the best approach. It's like build your following. People know who you are. They trust you, etc. Then you can kind of get into the spaces where we didn't do that necessarily in broadcasting. So we're new to this space. But for you were like, you know what? I built this following organically based on a phrase which turned into merch. And now I could get into more of what I love, which is that broadcasting, podcasting type venture, right?
For sure. So like I know we've had conversations, and when we met up at the studio, I do like these consultations with people all the time that want to start a podcast. And I say that all the time because one of the biggest issues I even have it is just getting seen or heard with your show. Like You know what I mean? That's the biggest thing, marketing a podcast, especially right now, because everybody has a damn podcast.
That's a fact.
Right.
And so it's like, well, damn, what do I got to do to make my podcast stand out or whatever? You got the best show ever. But if people don't know you or they don't know your brand, they don't really give a fuck. Especially right now. It's like, dog, well, I'm going to listen to you when I got Joe, Rory, Maul, Bodega Boy, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Drink Champs.
I don't know y'all unless it's just the homies or your community and they listening to you. So I always say kind of work backwards. But now we in like a weird space where, you know, there's no rules to this. Like, you know, you guys hopped in with a podcast. I caught wind of it. You know what I mean? I'm not too familiar with y'all personally, but I'm like, yo, that's dope. And I could have been looking at it from a podcaster's perspective. But you could do it either way. But the easiest way for me, man, and I look at, again, my background is marketing. So I look at people like Kevin Hart, Nick Cannon, Steve Harvey, people like that. The biggest thing about them is them. They are their brand.
Exactly.
Like, you hear Kevin Hart, you know what you're getting.
Right.
So Kevin Hart can go host the Olympics. He can have a podcast. He can have a radio show. He can have a TV show. But it don't matter because it's Kevin Hart. You're going to rock with it. Same thing with Nick Cannon, Steve Harvey, all of them. They can sell you anything because you fuck with them. So I was kind of following that model. Like, well, damn, if I could sell y'all a T-shirt, then I know I can get y'all to come to an event.
Got it.
You know what I mean? If I can get y'all to come to an event, then damn, I know I can get you to do X, Y, Z. I know I can get y'all to listen to a podcast because that's just an extension of
who I am.
Of who I am.
My brand, right?
Yep.
And really, that's the next step after social media. Not to jump ahead because I know we want to talk about everybody having a podcast.
No, we're in there, man. Yeah, let's let it flow.
Let you go.
Yeah, but you know, you kind of get a platform to talk and be you on social media. But you can only do so much. You know what I mean? You can only translate your voice so much in a tweet or on Facebook or whatever.
Right.
And it's like, if I really want to get deeper and I really want to talk to the people that really fuck with me or whatever, this next step is podcast.
I like that.
You know what I mean? Like, if you really rock with graffiti, then you're probably going to listen to a podcast to see a little bit deeper into, you know, my personality, because I can't give you all of that on social media.
Right.
And that's the part where I applaud people for trying to start podcasts, because it's like, it's one thing to talk, you know what I mean?
No, absolutely.
It's another thing to talk about yourself. It's another thing to talk for 1, 2, 3 hours in a row. It's another thing to keep people entertained while you're talking.
Right.
You know what I mean? So the whole everybody has a podcast. Yeah, they do, but you could tell which ones ain't really
built for it or just not invested in it.
Yeah,
Man, it's a true test. And honestly, just getting into this podcast space, like you said, in terms of people getting to know you, right?
Yeah.
Man, it takes a certain type of courage to kind of jump over the off the ledge and be vulnerable, man, and say some embarrassing moments or say some dumb shit or have some gaffes on the show, especially when you're going visual, man.
Yeah.
Like, yo,
That's
it's
different.
like some people are kind of camera shy. I know I am.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just being open with that, man, and taking whatever comes with it. You know what I mean? Like, for example, when I said, hey, I made a mistake and, you know, almost hollered at a dude, right? My
Man,
DMs
what we
was
talking about?
my DMs was popping.
That was funny as hell.
Yo,
Yeah.
listen,
Yeah.
man. I'm in the bed watching the game, man, and my wife come to the room talking about. So you talking to dudes now? So honestly, man. But the one thing about podding in terms of you are allowing people into your personal life.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Especially with stories that just your guys know.
Did you get some dudes in your DM from that?
Damn.
I'm just nah. You sure?
Nah.
Would you
Yeah.
tell us?
Yeah, would you tell
I would, man. I would tell y'all, man.
I think you would. I think you would.
I think you would too.
Yeah.
All right.
Had some bearded lady in my.
Some bearded lady.
Hey, man. Keep it up. You going to get a lot more than that. Like,
So have you had some wild deep?
Man.
Go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So, what's like the wildest shit you got on DM on Twitter or Instagram?
man, let me
That had you be like, man, this shit is just weird.
let me be. I was about to say, let me be careful with that, because I am married.
Hey,
That's the other
No,
part.
that's
They
tough.
gonna knowing what does
They
That
gonna
is
run
the
up
tough
on
part.
you.
what does go on a podcast.
That is the tough part.
It comes home with you.
Yes.
It was definitely some dudes in there. You know what I mean?
That dick do.
It was
I like your voice, brother.
it was
I
definitely
like your voice. You have a radio
it's
voice.
definitely the I love your
Whisper
voice.
in my ear.
Your voice is calming. Right on, brother.
This
like
podcast.
It's like music to my ear.
I mean, there's a few. But yeah, I think overall it's people thinking that they know you. You know what I mean? Like, it's the over accessibility at a time. Sometimes that gets annoying, but it's kind of what you stand up for. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, that's what
people hear you. They listening to you once a week, twice a week.
Those are your listeners, your audience, right?
They feel like they're a part of the squad when you talking with your homies. They got inside jokes with you, so they might DM you and cross the line a little bit. It's like, bro, I don't know you, but then you got to figure like, damn,
I do know you a little bit.
I'm talking to you every week.
What I signed up for.
Yeah, I mean, and as podcast fans, we know how that goes.
Absolutely.
You know I mean, it's like, damn, like I understand the language on a Joe Budden podcast or something like that because I listen to these niggas every week,
every day.
Yeah, I'm saying so. People get weird, but I don't know. You gotta know how to navigate around that shit. We grown, man.
I want to know, like, I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take a little, like, I'm gonna turn left.
Yep.
How did you get the name Graffiti, like, on all platforms? Like, most of the time it'll be like
that's hard
Graffiti
to do.
3241, or you know what I'm saying? You'd be like Graffiti 1348. You have Graffiti, so that means you were tapped in early.
Kinda. So.
Oh, so you paid for it?
No, I wish. So interesting. So I used to, all my platforms used to be Graffiti So Dope. And that was across everything.
Got it.
But people would call me that in person, and that shit got annoying. Like, yo, I'll be at the club.
What's
the
up,
DJ,
Graffiti So Dope?
Graffiti So Dope in the bit. I'm like, man, like that shit sound wild cocky. You know what I mean? Like, but I just did that because I could get it all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But not till recently. What was it about? Probably like 2019. I S-corp myself, so like just myself as a business, and I was trying to think of a name. Like I'm like, all right, I could do my government, or I could do Graffiti Johnson, or whatever. And I'm just like, that's Graffiti, just that's Graffiti, like simple. That's my website. That's graffiti.com. It happened to be available on every goddamn everything,
Every platform,
Twitter,
That's
Instagram,
weird.
Facebook,
That's
Snapchat.
like really weird to me.
That's
Venmo,
like a
Cash
unicorn.
App.
That's almost like a
That's
unicorn.
unique.
Tell me about it, bro. So I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, this got to be it. So once I seen that I can get it on, for one, just Instagram and Twitter,
Right.
That's difficult. I'm like, man, I'm snatching that shit up on everything.
every
About the
platform.
domain names, all that shit. Like,
Yeah.
nah, that's Graffiti. If you search that, that's what's going to
But
come.
like you talked about brand before, right?
Yeah.
Like with Kevin Hart. A lot of the times brand is associated with like accessibility and like, hey, I remember who this person is like right off of the top of my head.
Yeah.
And that's Graffiti. Like that lands, dude.
Yeah,
Like
it
that's
does.
not something that's easy to come by.
Right.
And like kudos to you for that, dude.
Man, I don't know how it happened, dog.
But you coming from but that name is like one of the pillars of hip hop that's outside of shooting and killing motherfuckers. Like I'm pretty sure if you was Gunplay or Gun Talks or AK-47, them names would be taken up.
Yeah.
Oh, but you're
like,
saying graffiti is
Graffiti is like, yo.
But that's also why I had to make it that's Graffiti, because people will be like, let me Google Graffiti. Of course, you're going to see street art, murals, and shit.
Right.
You're not going to, like, very specifically, you got to say that's Graffiti. And, that's where all my SEO and all that shit pops.
That's
That's
awesome,
powerful,
though, man.
So like,
And you say your background was in marketing.
Yeah,
That's powerful.
so I mean that's where my name come from too. So a lot of people just know me for graphic design.
so that's where the
Is that where it
graffiti.
started?
Yeah,
Got
so
it.
that's it's weird, bro. So shit, this is this.podcast, man. I'm gonna go ahead and just give y'all everything.
Yeah, do
So,
please.
I actually came into the industry, quote unquote, as a music producer. That's how I know Dave. That's all that, just making beats. Everybody wanted to rap. Everybody wanted to make beats. That's what it was. All throughout high school, all that. But I always been nice with actual graffiti and just doodling and, all that. And so once that got into kind of, bringing that over to computers and Photoshop and all that, I'm a tech nerd. So it was kind of just an easy transition to go from actual graphics and drawing to graphic design.
Got it.
And then with the music industry, me kind of being tapped in with all the DJs and shit, shout out to MNLD and K-Tone and all them. That's who I came up under. It was like, all right, well, this little nigga is nice at art. You could do our cover arts and you know what
Got
I
it.
mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Then it started to click like, damn, this shit's more lucrative than me trying to make a beat for these niggas. I'm the one y'all call for your art. You know what I mean? Let me do the cover art. Let me do the flyers. Let me do the logos. So it started like that and just kind of building that name, just being the art guy. And,
Got it.
People just started calling me Graffiti. Like, niggas didn't know my name. That's a nigga that do graffiti. Graffiti. It just stuck. And I'm like, yeah, that's my name then. Fuck it.
No, that's cool,
Yeah,
man.
and so-
Because for us, I feel like we don't have that background. You know what I mean? It comes in a different energy,
Yeah.
right? Like we're definitely tuned into music, hip hop, art,
Right.
but we don't have a career in it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like you've been immersed in that since you were young,
Right.
and drawing, graffiti. That's how
Yeah.
you came up with us. For us, we're like, I don't know how you would call it. It's like we're more on the sports and tech side
Yeah,
of
yeah,
like
yeah.
we're not artists. You know what I mean? It's more analytical,
Right.
data driven kind of thing. Is where that's how we kind of approach
I mean,
the
but
things that we do.
that's dope though. And again, that's the beautiful thing about podcasting. Like there's a market for everybody. And
Yeah.
I tell people that too. Like people get caught up on trying to take other people's audiences and we got to be the number one. Like that shit used to stress me
There's space
out.
for everybody.
That shit used to stress me out when people would be like, y'all got the number one podcast. Y'all got the number one. Like, dog, I don't want that kind of pressure on my helmet. Nigga,
Yeah,
like say
yeah.
we got the number one funny nigga podcast or something. You know
Got
what I
it,
mean?
got
Like,
it, got it.
I don't want that overall pressure because there's an audience for everybody. So if you're saying, yo, my background is tech, like there's somebody that wants to listen to this shit specifically to hear you talk about tech
Right.
or specifically to hear you talk about sports. You know what I mean?
Right.
I just happen to come from a very hip hop ass background. You know what I mean? So I kind of leverage that a little bit.
Got it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so can I take a pivot real quick?
No,
I can't.
is it gonna take long?
No.
No, it is because it's you. It's you. Well, real quick, let's talk about. I still want to talk about podcasting because I want to get.
I was going to ask a question about the podcast. Y'all are rude, man.
I'm gonna say for.
no, wait, no.
Okay.
No, I have the A mic.
Oh, since when?
Yeah. That's how
I'll let you go, bro. That's how he does me,
No,
man.
hey, so I was going to actually talk about your podcast.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things we struggle with is coming up with topics. No, we don't struggle, but like one of the fun things is coming up with topics,
For sure.
especially when it's just us vibing. And then I heard one with y'all, and y'all were talking about like what makes you happy. Like,
Yeah.
Like is happy a state of mind?
Is
Is
happiness real? Yeah, I remember.
Is
that
happiness real? That's
one.
what it was.
Yeah.
How did y'all get there?
I don't know, man.
Y'all were high.
Probably, but I was about to say sometimes it be the weed, but I think when we come, especially with Life is Dope, when it comes to topics, it was just shit that we would be talking about. You know what I mean? Like that's the beautiful thing about like my core group of homies. And shout out to my guys. I don't know if y'all familiar with Wash podcast.
Washed. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. My guy, E Cutter, KP, Tyler. Yeah. Yeah. So that's all it be. Is like I'm blessed with a core group of homies that's like for real my friends. Y'all know how it goes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like where you could be like, no, them is my dudes.
Right.
And so I think we got to a space, man, which is beautiful to see where it's that vulnerability, like you were saying.
Yeah.
You're just being a text, like, bro, I'm kind of down today. What's up? Like, I'm not feeling right. Niggas just, you good? You know, man, I ain't happy. And then them conversations turn into a whole day long conversation, damn near therapy session.
Got it.
Yeah, but
We be like-
but it's funny how the therapy with your boys, your therapy come after the jokes.
Yeah.
The motherfuckers got to make you feel
Yeah,
like
they gonna
shit,
get on your
and
ass
then they
first.
talk to you about what your problem is.
That's what friends are for, man.
Yeah.
They're gonna
But
tear you
as-
down and then
Hey,
build you up, just
Yep.
like muscles.
Yep.
Yeah,
But
we
as
building
we-
your muscles, bro.
As we talk through it, it's like, all right, damn, man, like, damn, y'all feel that way too? Yeah, bro, I've been feeling that way. I ain't know how to say that shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then he be like, well, damn, if y'all feel that way, I know somebody else out there. Let's just say that shit on the microphone. You know what I mean?
So it's funny you say that, man, because that goes back to you building the trust with your listeners, right?
Yep.
Like, so that's how they relate. They know who you are. You know, you talk about those vulnerable things sometimes, Damo. You know, it's not
Yeah.
all fun and games. Sometimes you gotta give it out there,
Yeah,
like
right.
therapy, right? So
yeah.
it's like, this is how I feel with my friends. I can vibe with them because it's a form of inspiration, right? Of like, yeah, this is how it is in real life, and I can relate.
For sure. You know what's tough about that though is when you don't initially set that tone, it kind of gets weird. So I ain't gonna lie, like when I first started doing radio and shit, like my whole thing was I'm just gonna be the nigga that says what ain't nobody else saying. You know, like
Shock value or something like
the
that.
Charlemagne of Denver. Like,
Right.
man, y'all niggas is, you niggas is right. Right.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's like,
you
man.
ready to boogie with that bear?
That was good.
It's basically, but it's like, especially being in hip hop and in the entertainment world, you know, being at studio sessions and all kind of shit. People sending me their music, and I'm like, y'all, like, all my friends know I'm the honest one. Like, nigga, don't ask my opinion. I'm gonna tell you it's trash. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm like, let me be that guy, because there's so many fake ass radio personalities and shit. Like, oh, the hottest song. Nah, I don't like that shit. So I kind of picked up a reputation for being that guy.
Yeah.
Which can be good or bad, because now I'm just expected to be, the shock jock or the asshole. I gotta. Yeah. So when I say some serious shit, niggas like, I can't tell if you really serious or you just being an asshole. You know what I mean? So,
sounds familiar.
No, that's you.
No, absolutely. He's talking about himself.
Oh yeah,
it sounds familiar because what he said about me.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you was projecting. So.
No.
Okay. So
no, he was talking about himself.
Okay. I thought you was projecting. So
he wants to own that. He wants to own that.
What you said about me.
He definitely wants to be the asshole of the show.
But also having your friends up here with you, because I know I go through this too. Like, having your friends up here with you helps you be yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
Just like, because like, I remember telling people, I was like, I'm recording a podcast. You're like the most, probably one of the most private people I've ever met in my life. And you're doing a podcast? Like, I'm with my boys though.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've never seen this side of you, Mike.
I have a clarifying question. Am I your friend?
Sometimes.
Nah. Give me out that circle.
See what I'm talking about, Graffiti? See
Give me
how
out
that
that
got
circle.
I get it.
But no, that's a good point, Mike, of like, the same here. Like, people like, what? I never seen Jay in this element before of like talking. Like, I'm friendly, cordial, but I'm not the one that's the life of the party,
Does that scare you? Does that scare you a little bit though?
It does.
Yeah.
It does because when you. So now I feel like when I'm out and I'm just chilling.
Yeah.
Like I normally do. Because like these guys know, I say, man, I get me a bottle of tequila, Terramana.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Terramana. And I told them, I said, look, when I do this, we need content, right? We have to have shit to talk about.
Yep.
So therefore, I know if I'm not up here faded, I'm going to say it, I'm not going to be as loose as I normally would be. You know what I mean? So it's scary, like you said, to bring it back to your point, to where when I'm out just in public, just having a regular time, just being like, just regular, right? I don't expect people to come to me acting like that they're going to get show Courtney.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is my everyday. I just be chilling. I don't want no problems with nobody. Everything is cool.
Yeah.
Nah. I mean, don't be expecting me to say some controversial shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would say for the four of us, Damien's probably the natural extrovert. And being an introvert, all that really means is you give your energy to people you want to.
Yep.
That's just pretty much your friends, and that's pretty much important.
Yeah. So you're doing that, but you're giving it to the world.
And you actually talked about this on your show in terms of comedians and how comedians, like when they're out in public and they're not working, people expect this certain type of energy for them to portray. Yeah. And they're just like, yo, I'm chilling.
Dog, I 1000% get it, because that's one of the hardest parts for me still to this day. And that's why I asked you, does it scare you? Because it's like you have this talent, right? And like, I know I can do broadcasting. I know I've been doing broadcasting, but there's the personality side that I ain't never, you know what I mean? Like, I was popular in high school, shit like that, but whatever. Like,
right.
I wasn't trying to entertain. People just knew me, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But even from graphic design and producing and shit, I was always behind a computer. Yo, I'll send you your work. Niggas used to be like, man, this nigga's like the Matrix or a program or something. I never met Graffiti. Like, I just know this nigga from working with him. But I just do my thing. I'm on my business, do my art. Even when I first started Dope Brand, like, I didn't really put no face to it. It was just like, yo, like, they like this shit. You know what I mean? Like, let the brand speak. You
Absolutely.
know what I mean? I'll be out and somebody be wearing a shirt or something I made, and I was just like, yeah, that's cool. But I'm not, hey, yo, you know what I mean? I'm not that type of guy. I'm just an introvert like that. So coming into this space, I kind of got forced into that shit. It's like, yo, all right, Life is Up is taking off. We get to a point where, you know, we're considered the black media in Denver, because that space was so wide open. Right. Where it's like, well, damn, now I kind of got to be out more. You know what I mean? And me don't, like I said, I've always dabbled in party promotions and shit.
That part.
But I did it because I'm a hustler. You know what I mean? Like, damn, I can make how much to throw a party and book some nigga? All right, bet, boom. Don't put my name on that shit. I'll throw some bread in there. That was always how I moved. Right. And then it turned into, now I gotta host this shit. You know what I mean? Or now we gotta be.
Absolutely.
And how do you navigate that at 40 plus?
See, and
Yeah.
42
See, because
plus.
you're a young man. For us,
but
we're
even still,
past
though,
40.
like, I'm 34, but I got 4 kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Family.
And I got a family and all that. So it ain't
boy's
like
out
I'm
there
just
pumping.
out here being. I just ain't out here being.
Yeah.
You was partying, all right.
Yeah, shot the club up. Pull out for what?
Boy, ain't had no balloons, still partying.
I don't know.
But yeah, let's hear your perspective on that. Because to your point, like it's starting to happen. It's starting to happen for us, right? Is that we're starting to get invited to these events, and that's more work, right? Like, and we weren't really expecting it,
side of work,
you
too.
know. And it's stretching us because it's like, all right, when we came in this initially, it's like, yeah, we're just gonna record and do this and put it on social media. We're not gonna have to go to this place, that place.
Can't
It's
avoid
just
that
like,
part, bro.
now we're getting invitations to show up here, show up there, and it's like we're not used to that.
Yeah.
And it's like it's stretching us a little bit where we're like being uncomfortable and
pressure.
making those sacrifices.
That's the pressure. So
It's
that's
pressure.
the part that people don't understand. You know what I mean? Like there's the actual art of podcasting, you know, broadcasting, doing this part. But then that person, oh, he's so high, dog. That's a whole different vibe. So like when I say, all right, now I'm hosting events, or you know, I kind of gotta be at these black media conferences and shit like that. That I probably wouldn't have, you know, if I was there, I might have just been there on some support, or you know, like
Absolutely.
networking, trying to.
You're not on, right?
Yeah,
You're
I'm
not working.
I'm not in entertainment mode, to your point, like with the comedians. So it gets to a point where people see you out and it's like, oh, yo, Graffiti, what's up, man? Damn, you funny as hell. I listen to your episode. I'm like, right on, bro. Like, I don't know how to receive that shit because it's like, well, damn, like, you want me to tell a joke? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I'm here I'm kicking it.
Just like right on, keep it moving, kind
But
of thing.
what comes with that though is the other side of it is like where, you know, especially coming from entertainment and hip hop and shit, like everybody kind of thinks that you can do something for them. You know what I mean? Like, all right, this nigga's a lick. You know what I mean? Like, well,
that too.
you know so and so, you could put me on with so and so, or damn, your boy's a producer, nigga. I rap, put me on. And it's like, fam, I'm trying to get on. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
So we all know that this Graffiti the plug. Is that when the plug nickname starts to come in?
The plug nickname been around forever because niggas always say, damn, bro, you got the plug on everything. And I do. I used to say if I don't got it, I could get it, and that was on some hustling shit. But I stuck with that mantra. You know what I mean? Now it's just resources. Now it's networking and shit. Like if I don't know somebody that knows somebody, I'll tap you in. Or you know, if I got a resource and I can share it, shit, let me be a vessel. I'll be the plug for you. So again, like Benny said, everything relate back to drug dealing. You know what I mean?
No, but it's that hustler mentality at the end of the day. So talk a little bit about what you're trying to, the vision for the Plug Productions and what you're trying to do with that.
Yeah. I mean, really, it's kind of simple, man. So we see the way podcasting kind of boomed out of nowhere. And I was one of the people that was preaching this shit for a while. Like, you know, like, and that came from just my background is you know, I've always wanted to do broadcasting. I wanted to do radio. I've done online radio. I've done like community radio, college radio, all that shit. But I could never crack FM. Like, and it's just because the way it's structured in Denver, like, man, if you on FM, you on that motherfucker till you die. You know what I mean? Like, we all know Larry, Kendall, and Kathy was on 107.
Hey, no, they were good, though.
But I'm saying, like, they ain't going nowhere. Like, as long as they're the morning show in Denver, and that's our station in Denver, Graffiti has no chance of being that nigga in that position. You know what I mean? Just because of how...
I kind of disagree.
Now it's different. Then, when
No,
FM,
I disagree. Because
What other morning show was popping besides them?
No, their morning show was amazing.
But I mean, there was no competition, at least in
There
the
was no
hip-hop,
competition
hip-hop
because,
space.
There wasn't even
they
a
didn't
station.
let people compete. But if you came in,
Nah.
and well, I guess I just don't know the space.
I
But like,
disagree
if you
with
were
that,
good, dude, like people recognize good.
Right.
People recognize great. People recognize outstanding. And if you come into the market and somebody was willing to take a risk on you, and then people, and like I always say, there's space for everybody.
Right.
And if y'all would have got a chance, you know, I'm just when I say y'all don't know who, but like you can break into the market.
I would push back a little bit though, and I'll let you go but the thing is that so at that time, like I don't want to say conglomerate, but maybe that's the right word, is like controlling the scene.
They did.
Right. So FM, when you go to KS 107.5, 103 or 104.3, right? All those, it's like they get to control what the movement is. Whereas now that I think that's why everybody has a podcast and is in broadcasting now because
of that.
you can't be
Exactly.
stopped.
It's a rebellion against that.
Yeah.
That's
And
fair.
can
I'll take that.
could KDKO get on that field?
KDKO.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I'm being
Absolutely. That's
real.
being
Like,
honest.
real
though.
shit, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
as a
In this day and age,
direct
Yeah.
as a direct competitor to Cas 107.
Theory Smith would have been on this joint talking.
Theory Smith.
seriously.
Shout out to Theory Smith.
Yeah,
No,
I
absolutely.
remember him as a
Staple.
kid,
Yeah,
dude.
I do too.
1510.
1510. Absolutely.
This boy was on
Dr.
Scratchy
Daddy-O.
AM radio. Bruh.
Dr. Daddy-O's another one.
He would be on FM. No, he would be greater than FM radio right now.
Yeah.
if Theory had a podcast.
Oh, absolutely.
for sure, man.
Yeah.
And I know James had a question. Just kind of just
Go ahead,
sneak
man.
a small one in.
Yeah.
And this is just for
You
education
gonna ask a
purposes,
small
man.
question. Just ask
No,
him.
just for education purposes, so I can learn. What is the difference between FM and AM? Why do they sound so drastically different?
Frequency.
Yeah, it's just frequency. So usually, and this kind of just ties into everything you was just saying. I'm glad you said that because from the outside looking in, you would think that would be the case, and that's what I thought it was. Like, damn, yo, like I'm doing broadcasting classes, I'm doing all this. I'm about to be, in my mind, I'm about to be the next radio voice. You know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely.
I'm think all I got to do is get in front of these niggas at FM radio, and it's a go. Like, they should know I'm dope. You know what I mean? It didn't quite work like that. But to tap right quick, so the AM is just, you know, it's local small signal frequencies. Like, you know,
Okay.
we
So
can set up an AM in here real quick versus FM. Got big ass $1 million towers and signal and shit like that and clarity.
and that's when I pretty much knew that part, but that's when
Yeah.
the politics come in, right?
That's where the politics
It's
come
like
in.
4G,
money.
5G, or something like
Yeah.
that, right?
So that's kind of the point of my question. Like,
Yeah.
that's when the politics come in terms of how you cross over and how you really want to be heard.
Yep. So that's how it all ties in because you go into it, and I had to learn the hard way. It's like when I'm walking into 107.5, I'm not talking to 107.5. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm talking to intercom. I'm talking to clear channel,
Got
which
it.
is now I'm talking to iHeartRadio.
Gotcha.
So when you're saying like, yo, all right, I feel like I'm good enough to get put on, unless they're like directly saying, yo, we're hiring a morning show host, is very slim that you're gonna get a shot because they not even in control. And from the outside looking in, it's just like, yo, Denver needs a new morning show. Y'all should fuck with them. They don't have no control. Like, it's some nigga in Wisconsin programming the music that they playing top 40 across all 82, you know what I'm saying, urban markets across the Midwest. Like, they don't have no control across that shit.
That's a good question, man. So that's a good segue because I would like to get your opinion because you probably know better. Is like when we talk about KS 107.5, like there are certain songs that, at least back in the day when I was listening to,
Over and over
that
and
they
over.
would play faithfully, no matter what it was. Like, I'm a big Ice Cube fan.
Yeah.
Like, I'm the hardest Ice Cube fan.
For sure.
But it was guaranteed that It's a Good Day was gonna play. G Thing. I mean, there was a series of songs
that
that
shit probably
no
playing
matter
right now.
what it was gonna play. And what is
Like
the reason for that?
34 times a day.
No, absolutely, absolutely.
So that's the thing, bro. That's all the things I had to pick up along the way. And again, you know, there is other elements of it, especially now. Like there's a lot of hate in the entertainment industry. Like, it's very cliquish. You know what I mean? Like, and you would think morally, in the way we move, you would think, all right, this person's dope. They could be an asset to help me be dope. We could work together. You would think that's how it is, but really it's intimidating. Like, if I'm better than the person that's already in this position, I might fuck around and come in and take this person out. So they move defensively. But to your point, all this shit is corporate. You know what I mean? So it's like, if I'm Def Jam, and I brought up Benny, so I'll just stick on Benny as a rapper all day. Benny's new single is hot. I got to get this shit pushed. It's part of the marketing plan. We need X amount of spins every day on these select group of urban stations, like they say, the urban market. We need in rhythmic radio. We need all this shit played on rhythmic radio every hour on the hour. That's how you end up getting those same 20 songs over and over again because the label's pumping that money into the radio station. So when you get the rappers, the local rappers, and they're like, damn, why you don't play local music? It's because it's not profitable for them. You know what I mean? Like, there ain't no label backing y'all. Y'all ain't kicking no bread. Payola is illegal, but that shit's payola. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's all corporate ran. If iHeart has, if iHeart has a partnership with, let's say, Universal Music, iHeart and Universal working hand in hand, so it's only right that an artist that's signed at Universal is going to get played on the radio all fucking day. So it's a monopoly, and like the little guys like us, from personalities to artists to whatever, we don't really stand a chance with that shit. So that's why you're starting to see the decline of FM and some of these bigger shits. Same thing with TV. It's like, damn, man, if I want to be an actor, I got a great show, I got a pilot. I can't get that shit on ABC because ABC is Universal. You know what I mean? But I could put that
Warner Brothers.
But these artists, but then also.
But I could put that shit on YouTube.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't get on FM radio, but I can sit right here and plug these mics up.
Insecure started.
That's how Insecure started.
Webisodes or something.
Yeah.
Got it.
And so we talk about rebelling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like podcasts being a version of people rebelling against these radio stations and this entertainment industry that are keeping people out, right?
Right.
But what turns me away from radio, man, is I just don't like commercials. Like, I don't like commercials. And again, I don't like to hear the same song over and over again. I'm not a poppy music type of person, right? So I think what's happening now is you're getting these artists that are curating these playlists, and they're putting them on Spotify, and they're putting them on Apple Music, and they're putting them on all these different other platforms, and I think that's kind of dope.
Yeah.
But then it's
But the streams and like, what's that worth? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but is somebody controlling that shit too? You know
Absolutely.
what I mean?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
The algorithm.
Oh my
Absolutely.
God.
No,
and
absolutely.
you know what's fucked up?
Yeah.
As much as we love podcasting and all that, like, we get the worst of that shit because it's not, like, again, kind of the whole what's the stream worth? Like, as a musician, at least I know I'm getting robbed. Like, I know I'm only getting half a cent on Spotify, a quarter on YouTube or whatever. Podcasters don't get shit. You know what I mean? Like,
That's a good point.
I'll
Good
get
point.
into it, like, of how to monetize a podcast, but it's like we don't. So for one, we making 2 hour, 3 hour long content. That shit's an album, dog. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
We
Over
keeping
time.
somebody on a platform for this span of time. Spotify. I only use Spotify to listen to podcasts. They transition their whole shit to promote podcasts.
Absolutely.
But podcasters don't get paid shit. Like, we don't get a stream per minute or give us 1 cent per, you know what I mean? We don't get shit.
So give the listeners some background on that, because we're trying to hit the numbers that you've already hit. So for your largest show on any platform, like, how much have you gotten paid from like a YouTube? Like, if you had 12,000 views, or on Spotify the same,
Right.
How much money have you received on that?
To keep it a bean from YouTube, nothing. Because when we got into YouTube, it was literally just to have an outlet to put some videos on. We ain't really fuck with knowing like monetization partners and all that shit that they got now, where it's like, you know, we'll run your ads on YouTube and pay you. Like, Sean, my little cousin, he does that shit. And that knowledge just we wasn't privy to that. You know what I mean? I was privy to how radio works and how podcasting works, though, you know, as far as advertisers and sponsors and stuff like that. So yeah, YouTube, not a damn thing. Now podcasting is different. So with Life is Dope, it got to a point, like I said, where we were kind of deemed the black media. So everybody kind of wanted to advertise on our shit, which is what keeps radio alive, is advertisement.
Absolutely.
But I was one of them guys who's like, man, I don't want ads all over my shit. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to stop the show and play an ad.
Because you're looking out for your listeners.
Man, you
I
got a
get it.
drunk moving company up on your stuff.
Hey, I'm about to say, we kind of past that now. Fuck all that. Give me the bag.
Hey,
Before,
I was listening to that.
yeah, before I was like, you know what we can do? We can kind of just find cool little ways to integrate it. So our first sponsor on Life was Dope. They was called Barrels Beer. And what that was is a beer company next door, and it was just some little shit.
Down on the Rhino.
Yep.
Right? Yeah.
So we just
I've
had
been there.
barrels because they was just giving us something to drink since we was recording next door. Shit was on screen.
That sound like a...
And we was like, man, shout out to Barrels Beer. We was just doing it off GP because they was giving us Barrels Beer. And I'm like, damn, bro, this episode got like, you know what I mean? Like, maybe Barrels should break a little bread.
Yeah, absolutely.
They be open to that shit. So then that spawns into, you know, maybe so-and-so should pay me to wear this damn hat every episode. You know what I mean? And you got to find little unique ways to start monetizing this shit, because you're not going to get paid for no damn stream. Like, it's changing now. You see subscriptions and shit like that. But Spotify's not about to be like, yo, you get $1 per listen.
So let me ask you that, because, and Damo, I felt like I cut you off. Did you have a question before? Did you want to switch it to a...
No, it actually dives into
Go ahead, man.
a
I'll
little
let
bit
you go.
about what you're talking about Spotify.
Yeah.
But I want to dive into like black media specifically, and the black media scene nationally and locally, and the disparities between it, because there is the way that to your point, advertisers are spending money, whether it's on TikTok, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on Spotify, you name it.
Yeah.
There's a disparity. So would love to get your thoughts on black media.
Yeah.
Like the current state of black media.
Man, that's a complex answer. It's one of those things, bro. It's like I tell people it's a gift and a curse being in Colorado. The gift is so scarce out here that when you have the market, you have it. You know what I mean? Like I said, all we had to do was make a podcast, and we was instantly deemed the black media because there wasn't no other damn black podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
no.
So it was like kind of a little bit of leverage, but at the same time, it ain't no damn black media. So like I can go to Atlanta and the whole downtown got CNN, ESPN, blah, blah. I could take this skill set, walk in the door, get a highly paying job, be straight. Here, not only do I got to, try to create my own shit from scratch all the time because I can't walk into a media outlet because there ain't none. I got to try to build the audience around that because, for one, Denver is really slow on podcasts for some fucking reason. You know what I mean? Like,
Got it.
A lot of people don't even know the app is just sitting on your phone to even click a podcast. You know what I mean? Like,
And that's a fact. It's so many
absolutely.
people that don't know that Apple Podcast is right there.
exactly. And then on top of that, it's just statistics. I wish I could quote off the numbers. Shout out to my guy Julius at the plug. He do that shit great. But all the stats of how black people are the lowest number of consumers when it comes to podcasts. Like, we don't like to listen to shit. You know what I mean? Like, we like to see shit.
I'm starting to see that.
We don't like to listen to shit. So and then podcasting is already a niche market. It's the same as if you listen to talk radio or audiobooks. Like, not everybody wants to sit and just hear people in their ear talking. So there's all these factors that you add in, and then you add in that we black. You know what I mean? So it's the biggest podcast in Denver is DMVR.
Right down here.
DMVR, they're the biggest. And then there's like some sports betting. There's like some real estate shit. That's all. That ain't us. You know what I mean? And that's a mass market. And this is a good and bad thing about our people too. Is like we talk about what we know. We talk about what reflects our background. So
Do we hate too on each other?
We do. But we get on these platforms and, and I'm not knocking because I do that shit. We got a whole ass morning show where we just on there bullshitting. Like you said, we got the fucking drunk moving company and shit. Shit is funny. Shit is dope to us. We gravitate to it. Yeah. But then it's like, damn, there ain't really no profitable market for certain shit. You know what I mean? And it's because we black. You know what I mean? If I'm trying to pitch certain shit and they go listen to an episode, what did you mean by this, that? So now I can't get a bag from Coca-Cola. But I can go get a bag from, you know what I'm saying?
Swisher Sweets.
From Cripple-Cola.
Cripple Cola. I like that. I like that.
Which is actually, Cripple-Cola is delicious.
You ain't chasing no Cripple-Cola.
Shouts to Cripple-Cola.
You ain't chasing no Cripple-Cola.
I have some Cripple-Cola in Cali. That shit is delicious.
Cripple-Cola is delicious.
Yeah, Cripple-Cola is delicious, man. But I say that to say, like, back to the Issa shit. It's like, we tend, and this is across the board, man, we usually tend to be the best at every fucking thing as black people, you know what I mean? Like we set the trends, we set the tone, we kind of determine marketing as far as what's cool. We'll say a slang term, next thing you know, McDonald's is using that shit. We do that, and our history hasn't been, we didn't really learn how to monetize our coolness. You know
No,
what I mean?
absolutely.
It was just, we just doing this shit because it's dope.
Go out there and trademark.
The opportunity. We just want the opportunity in the platform.
Now we got these spaces where it's like, okay, wait a minute, y'all really, you know what I'm saying? Like, thanks to like the Joe Buttons and Malls and them, it's like, damn, they kind of see the value in what we bring into podcasting. So we're slowly kicking that door in. It's like, yo, if we want somebody to buy this Big Mac, we should probably advertise that shit on a black podcast. It's fucked up, but you know what I mean?
No,
Black people
absolutely.
like Big Macs. Let's play that shit on the black podcast.
No, absolutely.
It's fucked up, but it's reality.
Hey,
so
not
It is,
according to
man.
Byron. What's Byron's the dude who owns the biggest media company?
Byron Allen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's suing the shit out of McDonald's right now.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Like, no, real talk, dude. He's going hard on them.
No.
And yeah, so that's I could give you the stats behind McDonald's spend on black, like, minority-owned businesses.
You see it in the commercials all the
It
time,
is
man.
low, but like, there's representation.
Mm-hmm.
But black media companies, their platform, they're not spending there. It's less than 1%.
Oh, I
They
see.
have like
I see.
They have like $12 billion they spend on advertising annually, and less than 1% goes to black-owned business.
Who replaced Calvin, though? Who replaced Calvin?
Calvin.
Dang, you taking it back,
I
man.
forgot about Calvin.
That's back in the day.
Yeah.
No, the
Calvin,
McDonald's.
Yeah, McDonald's back
Calvin
in the
used
day.
to be
That's
the.
where the skit came from, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, like what happened to Calvin?
I don't know, man.
Like
Probably
so
got a
did
podcast.
Calvin have a son? Nah.
No,
so,
but on the real, Calvin
I'm
was
saying-
like the first. I don't know what they call it, but like you know how Sprint had. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Like
He was the beginning Jake from State Farm.
That's what
You
I'm
know how
saying.
that
Yeah,
dude
yeah.
did
Yo,
everything.
so like why don't
We've
so,
come up.
So
We come up from McDonald's to State Farm.
Yeah.
There we
So
go.
like why isn't Calvin like Calvin's like Calvin worked at McDonald's, right? He pulled himself up by the bootstraps.
Where's
He
Calvin
went to
today?
college.
Yeah.
Where's Calvin today?
Where is Calvin?
Calvin has a son. Calvin sends his son to work at McDonald's to do the same thing.
Yeah. Calvin should be on like a Microsoft commercial or something now.
Yeah, like
Hey, but that's kind of the point of what I'm saying. Like,
But yeah, if you look at these,
that lack of knowledge is like, again, that's what we do with the plugs, bro, to bring it full circle, is that lack of knowledge. It's like, damn, man, we promoting a lot of shit for free.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
So
I gotta say, like Wasinda has been saying that for ever since we start this podcast, that we got to do better of like, to your point, monetizing of like, nah, don't give them free pub.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Make sure they
But
paying
even
for
deeper
that.
than that, though, man, like on some
Exactly.
on some
Terramana
black,
gotta
on some
pay
black
for that.
unity shit, even deeper than that, though. When I say like, okay, maybe my content isn't suitable for a damn Coca-Cola ad to be placed right in the middle of, it's like, well, we joke about Coca-Cola, but then it's like, well, damn, what company would benefit from advertising on my shit?
Coca-Cola.
You know what I mean? And that's when you get like a Lawrence and Lammer or some shit.
Absolutely.
And that's
We
how-
trying to plug.
Shout out to Lawrence and Lammer. Thank
and
you
that's
for
how you keep
everything.
that economy flowing. But then even deeper than that, it's like, all right, well, we know we ain't getting paid for a stream. We know we got to do X, Y, Z. We got to play all these ads. Man, fuck it. Let's leverage our own merch. Let's leverage our own something that we pushing. If you got your own company, you got a whole ass platform right here.
Go ahead and push it.
Hey,
You know what I'm saying?
keep going there. Like you touched on it earlier when you talk about like the monetization of a podcast, and we just scratched the surface.
Yeah.
Tell the people who are listening, tell us, like, what does it really take to start to monetize this space?
Yeah. Nowadays is way easier than it was. And when I say nowadays, I mean literally like this year, last year. You know what I mean? Like
Oh, really?
Where platforms are starting to pop up and really realize how important podcasting is. And that is due to a lot of corporate shit. Like you've seen a lot of corporate buyouts. Like you see like Spotify buying Gimlet Media and shit like that. And so what that is they trying to do the shit like how radio does. It's like, well, damn, you getting X amount of attention, because that's all marketing is, paying for somebody's attention. People are listening to a podcast. People are listening to podcasts all day. How can we do what the fuck, them peoples do? How can we make some bread off that? So now there's outlets where it's like, okay, my podcast is distributed on iHeart. iHeart has a whole ad and media company within iHeart. So if they can advertise on radio, now they got another arm to advertise on podcasts.
Got it.
Just tap into their, and I'll give all the game. Fuck it.
That's what we here for. That's what we here for.
Yeah, their iHeart specifically, theirs is called, I believe it was called Ad Roll. They might have changed it, but there's another one. And I was going to tell you about this. It's called Podcorn, PODCORN.com.
Okay.
And there's quite a few of those that have been popping up, but Podcorn's the OG. And what it is, if you listen to like 85 South Show or there's quite a few podcasts, you'll notice they always be shouting out the same shit. It'd be like Bevel Blade, Squarespace,
MeUndies.
yeah, BlueChew.com, fucking HelloFresh.
shoot.
There's like a whole shit. And you like, damn, man, how Wallow and Gilly do that shit too. It'd be the same commercials. And you're like, damn, how are y'all tapped in?
New Amsterdam, Baca.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that's
absolutely.
different. And I'll speak on that one, but it's because there's an ad network. It's like, all right, you go on like a site like Podcorn and you say, okay, I got a podcast. You sign up as a podcaster. And this is kind of what we do at the plug too. We place your content with the advertiser that matches your market. So
Okay.
if you're what they call urban, fuck all that, I hate that. But if you're what they call an urban podcast, let's say your demographic is black men ages 21 to 45 or some shit.
Got it.
What do black men ages 21 to 45 like? They gonna list you a whole bunch of companies that speak to your demographic, and then they'll say make an offer or some shit. You know what I mean? And you be like, oh, okay, we'll mention your company on our show for $100 every episode, and that's that's low end, but that's how it works. You know what I mean? They'll say make us an offer, you send it to the company, they'll be like, okay, we'll pay you $200 to say our name at the beginning of the show, a pre-roll ad, or we'll pay you $400 if you just bring it up casually in conversation. And there's a lot of companies that do this now that didn't do that before. Before, you had to have a sales team, or you had to get out and hustle and be like, yo, I got a show. You know what I mean? Like right. A nigga with a mixtape. Hey, you like hip hop? You like podcasts? But now they do it where they match you up. And I can attest to that. Like, it works, bro.
Okay, we need to invest in that.
So
then.
Podcorn.
Podcorn.
So you know what's crazy? I don't want to change too much, but it has to go into like the monetization on social platforms. Mm-hmm. I was reading an article today on Blavity, and they were talking about the top earners on TikTok.
Yep.
And they were talking about there's the top TikTok earners. So there's a couple stats that they put on, but one that just blew my mind. They have people with the top earners are getting like $500K a post for like one post on advertisement by these Sony just talking about these Sony headphones that they're wearing and how that.
I'd be curious. Did they break it down into like demographics?
Yes.
Of like
yes, they did, and that was the other part I was gonna hit him. But hey, Damo, you're long-winded. But another thing they talked about is one of the top dudes on TikTok. Has like 127 million followers.
Damn.
And he is one of the top people on the TikTok platform. I don't know. His name is, it starts with a K, but he's like a skinny black dude, and he was on like the playoff commercials. And he doesn't speak. He just does like gestures.
I know exactly. Because he has one on IG too.
He does that right there. He has 127 million followers.
That's exactly what it is.
That's exactly what he does.
Yeah.
He goes, hey, and he gets paid per ad. He gets paid less than the top 25
facts
content producers. So there's no in the list of Forbes.
Wait, he gets paid less.
Less.
Wow.
In the list of Forbes top 25 TikTokers, he has the most amount of followers, and he's not on the top 25 in terms of pay.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's so,
and
like,
that's
it
where
just
the
goes into
systemic
what you're
shit kind of
talking
comes
about,
into
dude.
play, bro. Like,
got it.
It's like, we look at certain things, and I want to get back to the monetization too, but we look at things like, to us, we might, if I say what's the top podcast to you, naturally we're gonna say what's in our fucking algorithm. Like, Drink Champs and Joe Budden and Bodega Boys, they clearly the number one podcast.
Outside of Joe Rogan, of course, right? Everybody knows
he's just something different.
Yeah.
So naturally we be like, nah, but Joe Rogan's something different.
Yeah.
And it's like, but is he though? You know what I mean? Like, is he something different because he's something different?
No.
Or is it because of the way that shit is structured?
The machine is behind it.
Exactly. So we don't get the machines behind us the way a Joe Rogan does. Or, like the top podcast in the world is all like crime shows and shit like that.
Yeah.
So I got a question. I'm gonna push back on the old boy just as an example.
Yeah.
Like, is that a fact that we generally, we're coming from poverty, whatever, that we don't negotiate that well because
there's some of that too.
You're pretty much
that's fair.
You're worth what you can negotiate.
Facts. I think
that's completely fair.
That's a good point.
That's absolutely fair. And again, that kind of goes back to the knowledge.
So you don't know what you don't know, right?
You don't know what you don't know,
Okay.
and it's knowledge, bro. Like, I'm big on knowledge, and that's one of the things. Like, if I'm dead ass broke, you know what I'm saying, I can't afford no food tonight, and you say, yo, I'm gonna give you $300,000 for your podcast. That's fucking incredible in my brain, not knowing that Lil Susie and them's podcast just got offered $300 million,
and they have the same amount of followers,
or not even
or
the same
audience,
amount,
or
they
less.
have less. You know what I mean?
Less.
But they have crossover appeal. They have a wider market because they're not black. You know what I mean?
Because they have the data in the back that tells that story that you've been talking about.
And that's why that's why the hip hop artist Russ is so cold with it.
Yeah.
Man, Russ was on Rory and Mal talking about the importance of remaining independent.
But tell the listeners like what Russ's position is, because he's indie, right?
Yeah, so Russ is an indie artist who who's doing crazy numbers, but
he's white also.
Yes. And on the come up, man, like even the numbers he was talking about, just being an indie artist on the come up. The dude was saying that he was making $150,000 a month, and then he was like, well, if I'm making $150,000 a month, he started looking long range in terms of if I sell you the rights to my album for $1 million, $2 million, how much is the actual company going to ultimately make from my album 10 years, 20 years down the road?
5 times that, man.
But that's one of them things. That's one of them things, man. And I'll talk to my homies in music about this. One of my guys is dealing with a situation right now where he's trying to decide whether he wants to take a deal or remain independent. It's like, even when I mention like the Podcorn and the sponsors for podcasts and stuff, there is that part where people hear that and they're like, okay, bet I'm about to just go get sponsors and get some money. You still need to attract people to your product. Like,
content
first
at
thing
the end of the day.
Like, there's what you was talking about with the social influencers and shit like that. I wish I could think of the website, but y'all use your Googles. It's like a influencer calculator or something. You put in your social media name and it be like, yo, you should generate X amount of dollars per post based on your following and your active engagements. If you don't got no kind of engagement, if you're not bringing people to you, if you're not boosting your value, then all this talk don't really matter, because like shit, you're not really generating a product that's worth any, like, I'm not saying it's not worth it, but you know what I mean? Numbers wise, it doesn't make sense. So,
because to your point, it's like on YouTube, right? Is a prime example of like, you might have 1,000 views, but how long are those viewers staying for the content of your show? It might be like a minute. You know, I'd rather have 100 viewers that stay for an hour rather than 1,000 viewers that stay for like 10 minutes. Exactly. You know what I mean?
And then in sponsor talk, they're going to ask about engagements. So it's like, all right, you can have 1 million views, but if you got 60 comments, it's like, you're not really.
And do those comments come from bots?
Yeah. Right. So there's a lot that goes into it. But I say that to say, you know, like, there's 3 ways to really get paid off podcasting right now. It's sponsorships, you know, doing ad rolls, reads, shit like that. There's subscription based, which is kind of popping up everywhere now, where you could do a Patreon, or you could, you know, $5 a month, we give you extra content, whatever. And then there's deals. Like, you just simply just get a deal from a production company to make content.
Absolutely.
That's the one where you kind of got to test your moral compass on, you know, they say every man got a price.
They gonna tell David to come in a little bikini thong.
You know what I'm saying?
No, absolutely.
James gonna sacrifice his ass.
Yeah, man.
Go ahead, get your ass out there, Damo.
You'll get your ass in that motherfucker. No, James gonna sacrifice that little lamb.
I'll be like, hey, this is your salary per episode. Are you willing to do it?
Shit get real. Like, that's that rush shit though, because you got to make that decision. It's like, all right. Am I really, you gotta be real with yourself, because I've had to do this. It's like, I could take this check, this company's gonna they gonna push my shit, they gonna get me the exposure I need, just like a record deal.
Yeah.
You're gonna get me on radio, you're gonna give me that budget for my videos, all that type shit. So this little bit of money to y'all might be a lot to me. In the grand scheme, I might have to be okay with taking 300,000 and you take 300 million, because you doing 300 million worth of work. You know what I mean?
And they own it in what's that word? Perpetuity?
Perpetuity.
Yeah. They own it. And that's the thing. They own it in perpetuity.
That's the problem.
And that's what Russ was saying.
Yeah.
Russ was like, you can create something, it blow, and somebody throw you 10 million. And as an individual, that's hard to turn down.
Yeah.
But if you're playing the long game, right?
But if you're playing the long game, man, you have to have that ability to say no, because that company owns that shit. Forever.
Dog. I remember $1 million worth of game when they was first transitioning, because it used to be them, another dude, and a girl when that show first started.
Now they're Barstool.
Yeah. So there was a big controversy in the podcast world. People was judging the fuck out of $1 million worth of game, because that's what it was. It was like, all right, y'all can sign the Barstool for whatever the number is. I guess it was a low end number compared to what other podcasters were getting, and it was like, yo, but once you sign the Barstool owns $1 million worth of game. This is a Barstool production. So the way Gilly and them structured it was like, all right, bet, shit, y'all can own $1 million worth of game, but we gonna bring personal value. Like, now you know Wallow, now you know Gilly, so I can shit. Like what Life is Dope. Like, damn,
absolutely.
Life is Dope was done. You know Graffiti still, I can go bring some other shit. I can bring the check in. Y'all niggas can have what y'all paid for, because the value is moving away. It ain't the name, it's the people. You know what I'm saying? So I say that's where your moral compass come in, because if somebody came in right now like, yo, Here's the bag y'all need, but I don't like how you sound. You got to stop saying that. Y'all got to start saying this every end of your episode.
Somebody's putting the agenda together for you. We're getting the guests. We're procuring all that for you.
Yeah.
Like, this is what it's going to be now.
Some people want that. Some people just want to show up, sit down, and talk, and that's cool.
Real quick before you answer.
It's a rhetorical
Hold
question.
on. So, go ahead.
What if they came in here and said, you got to take off your tiger socks and put your shoes on every episode, and you have to be, is it namaste?
Yeah.
Namaste.
Namaste, cuz. Would you do it?
I would think about it. Like, all I got to do is put on my shoes.
Yes, sir. I got some white socks I can put on.
Well, James had that Cripicola right to the left side.
Oh, man.
That Cripicola be right to the left side.
I'm going to get you, sucker, or something like that, man.
Hey, man, but it'd be like that. It'd be like, that's the sacrifice. I could, without saying too much, so my other podcast is just me, the one-on-one show, to connect. That show is completely sponsored by Live Well. Like, the way it's structured, everything. Like, I have creative control. Like, I named it. I do the art. My content and my guests is all me. But I have to be very conscious of how that show is represented because it's a reflection of my primary sponsor, Live Well.
Right.
So I've had episodes where it's like, damn, like, this is how I feel. This is how the guests feel. But that shit was kind of wild because this might translate to that company and might fuck the bag up. You know what I mean?
So you can't even put that content out, or you gotta cut it out, or something like that. Yeah.
But those are the talks you gotta have with yourself. Now, if you're just not comfortable with any of that type of shit, stay independent. Do that rush shit where it's like, nah, dog, I'm cool with 100,000 versus $1 million because I got my this is my shit.
Creative control.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I got full creative control. But that shit happens, bro.
It
like
does.
I'm not gonna lie, not on no sellout shit. But they came with a nice little bag from Live Well, and I'm like, bro, all I gotta do is not say X, Y, Z. Bet that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll go on another platform.
You got Live Well in the bottom right hand corner, right there.
All that shit say Live Well.
Absolutely.
And then, all right.
But that pays the bag, right?
Though. Yeah. That's for that. That's helping when you come to the studio, and it's like, well, damn, you know how expensive all this shit is? It's like, yo, that covered this. Now this
my next thing
is where I'm gonna get wild on you niggas and say what I really want to say. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because that's the corporate bag over there, and that's when you see like the Kevin Harts and shit like that. Kevin Hart might not be able to say on XM radio what he says on a podcast. You know what I mean? Or he might not be on NBC talking as reckless as he's gonna be on the stand up.
I think it's different. When you're an A-list celebrity, you have to be like slow and steady all the time.
He might be a bad example.
I get what you're saying,
but you know what I mean? You gotta structure shit where you got your own leverage, so that nobody's taking it away from you. Like if this podcast is the shit collectively, like this is that Roy and Maul and Joe shit.
Yep.
Dude, it's kind of like
yeah. So let's.
You know what I mean?
Harvey was still doing his thing.
Yeah.
On the TV show, he got to talk a certain way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Man, I cannot let you get away from this podcast without getting your perspective.
We gotta talk about that
on that whole situation.
It's wild, man.
As short as we can get it, because that situation was so fascinating to me, because I watched it all play out.
Yeah, not only that, kind of maybe if you can relate it to what you got going on with Washed, you know, things like, well, I mean, things like that sure. Is like those kind of things you got to worry about. Of like, you know, on this podcast of being like business and then doing that with friends.
Dog, that's the most unfortunate part. Everybody says you can't do business with friends, all that type of shit. Literally just. When I said it before I got here, I was dealing with a situation. Same shit, bro. That's the tough part. Throughout that whole shit, and I gotta kind of be political because I do know them niggas, Ian and shit like that. Like that's how, you know, the connection with Maul and all that.
Got it.
But when you know certain shit business wise, and you know certain shit entertainment wise, and then you add the fact that y'all are homies, everything can kind of get conflicted right there because. If let's say, and there's always a situation where there's one person that is kind of the organizer. You know what I mean? That person's putting the shit. That person's the Joe. Whether you like it or not, just personality wise, business wise, there's gonna be somebody that plays that role. And then you add on the fact that that's that person's entity. Like that shit is called the Joe Budden Podcast.
Yeah,
you feel me? It's unfortunate, but it's like. Business and on paper and corporate wise, Maul and Rory I don't want to say we're employees, but y'all are kind of expendable. We know that as fans that y'all bring value to this shit. But as we see right now, yo, if y'all don't like it, this is the Joe Budden podcast.
Well, let me ask
y'all
you.
Y'all niggas can bounce, but we homies, so that's where shit get messy.
Well, let me ask you this, because if I get what you're saying, if it wasn't called Joe Budden podcast and they called it The Three Friends,
Joe owns the IPO, man.
Yeah,
okay,
same thing,
same turnout.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sorry, I think I was interrupting.
No, you're good, but that's all it boils down to is who owns this IPO, and if you own it, I don't want to say the breadwinner because I know that's false, because like we look at what Rory and Maul's doing, like moving, thriving without Joe,
thriving.
But when you're that person that kind of puts this vehicle in motion, like this shit started before them, it's moving on without them. It's just unfortunate that they was friends, but it's like, dog, this is his business.
But to your point, the other one that hurt, like I really wasn't that connected to Joe Budden podcast.
Yeah,
I Am Athlete.
The Pivot.
Going to the Pivot. But like I Am Athlete
good,
still exists, man. But like to your point, it's called I Am Athlete. We know who the driver was.
Yeah.
The driver was Brandon Marshall. But at the end of the day, in my opinion, Ocho Cinco and Channing made the podcast.
Facts. And see, and that's from a consumer perspective, and this is where shit gets weird. Especially like I kind of always end up taking on this role of like handling the business structure of shit. It gets weird because it's like we know, damn, this person might be the funniest one on this podcast.
Doesn't matter.
Or this one right here might be attractive, and that's why all the houses watching. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, dog, if you look at that paperwork and that motherfucker says
Brandon Marshall,
owner of I Am Athlete brand and all of its entities, it's your
him.
boss, fam.
Yeah.
And unless you structure it where, you know, everybody got a piece. You know what I'm saying? But then that kind of gets weird because you got to have them talks like, well, shit, yo, if we busting this down equally on paper, what are you providing to this company that makes it, you know what I'm saying?
But then there's too many cooks in the kitchen.
There's too many cooks in the kitchen.
Like there's no such thing as 50-50. There's no such thing as 25-25, 25-25. It's just not. You have to make those
too much creative
early.
input.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Unless you designate somebody to make, like, you know, you decide this part, you do that part. But again, it's too many cooks in the kitchen.
And that's not just podcasts. That's just business in general. You know what I mean? That's not unique to that. So.
And then it's personalities too, because again, like I've been in situations where it's like, look, bro, I just want to show up and talk on the microphone because that's what I'm good at. And then I expect too much. Like, nah, nigga, but if I'm marketing and I'm blah, 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 you got to do this shit too. But it's like, nah, you know what? You're just a co-host, fam. And it needs to be structured that way. I think with the Joe and Rory and Maul shit, I don't think it was ever really structured that way. It was kind of just a homeboy agreement. Like, I got you. You know what I'm saying? We're going to go on tour. I'm going to break you off. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. So when you do get that awkward Rory shit, like, yo, let me see the books real quick.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, we made how much? But we only made this much? It's two ways to look at it because you could be like, damn, we only made this much because we only did this much. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Versus Joe's looking at it like, nigga, I set the tour up. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
I had a rap career that I brought with me, my audience.
Y'all because of me.
It's tough.
But to hear that from your homeboy, it's like, damn, nigga, I thought you was going to look out.
Yeah,
you know?
No, absolutely.
Yeah,
it's tough.
So.
Because when you look at that situation, it's like Rory, and I'm sorry to cut you off, Damo, like Rory and Maul definitely contributed to the show because that's what people loved about it, right? Yeah. And it's just like they build that rapport. You saw how they reacted to each other on camera. Like they definitely had a huge part in that success. But to your point, Joe's like, I'm the reason why this even all came to this point kind of thing is like his argument and all that, you know.
It's fucked up, man.
Yeah, and what I was gonna say is sometimes things happen. Sometimes things happen. Like I Am Athlete was a freaking phenomenon.
Yep.
Like it took off
in less than a year, and they're getting millions of views on a freaking daily basis. Yep. That's unheard of. So things move, and they talked about it on the Pivot. Like things were moving a little bit too fast, and they trying to catch up. Mm-hmm. And Brandon Marshall's like, this is a phenomenon. I'm a bit like, he's like the business mindset. He's like, I'm taking advantage of this opportunity as fast as I can.
I'm going NASCAR.
What'd you say, Saul?
I'm going to NASCAR.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
I'm pulling NASCAR. I'm pulling. My wife has a brand. My kids have a brand. I have multiple brands. You see what I'm saying?
And that's the part, bro. So again, when we was talking about, you know, transitioning from Life is Dope to the check-in, that's kind of what happened. Like, a lot of people ask about that. Like, that's my dog. Like, everybody thought it was on some y'all don't fuck with each other shit. It wasn't even that. It was just timing, and then it was to your point, what you just said. So I've been in media. I've been in broadcasting. So I kind of had a streamlined vision of what I want to do with this shit.
Right.
And when it's not made clear in the beginning that all parties involved want that same thing, shit could get weird, because, you know, it went from us just kicking it, you know, in the back of the shirt shop recording to, okay, the mayor's on the line saying, I need y'all to help me run this campaign. And it's like, dog, where the fuck that come from on that side? But for me, I'm like, bet, nigga, like, that's what I do this shit for, like, because I want these phone calls.
But I'm not here for that.
You know what I'm saying? But somebody else, the co-host or whoever
here
on the
for that.
squad, might be like, man, I thought we was just having fun.
Yeah.
Then,
It sounds really from like we've had those conversations.
Yeah, no, we definitely had those
so
conversations.
you gotta make that known, because then you do end up with shit like the pivot, because it's like, nah, man, I say this all the time, and you know, whether my co-hosts or whatever agree with it or not, I'm very direct about it. It's like, I got into this shit for a very specific reason. So once I start to see them things kind of manifest, I'm gonna go all the way with that shit. Like, once I seen, yo, I could just make a phone call and we can get so-and-so on the show. Let's do that. You know what I mean? It stops being just fun, because now it's, all right, we got to arrange flights. We got to figure out when to get with so-and-so. We got to figure out how to translate. We got to make sure that they okay with the final product. It ain't fun no more. You know what I mean? It's work.
It's fun in a different way, right?
It's fun if that's what you're passionate about.
Yeah, right.
But then that shit is just work, dog. There got a point where we was, I don't want to say reaching. We did burn the fuck out with Life is Dope, because it's like, all right, yo, we recording this morning. Fucking Carlos Miller's in town tonight. Let's pull up to the hotel, and we gotta, you know what I'm saying, we gotta bring all our shit and go do that. Gotta do that. Damn, tonight, man, we got a whole ass party. I can't make it, but can you hold me down, bro? Blah, blah. What the fuck you mean you can't make? Like, those are the conversations you gotta start having. It's like, damn, why did we start this shit in the beginning? And then you gotta get back grounded.
Absolutely.
So
I love that, dude.
That's
I do
what,
too.
That's what happened
It's
with
just like
us,
having
man.
principles on how you operate.
Yep. I always say, find your why. It's like, we took a break. It got to a point where we just burnt the fuck out, dog. We had like 3 episodes in a row. You know, my partner had voiced it like, dog, we doing too much. We doing too much. Me, I'm thinking this is what we supposed to do. Like, nah, nigga, this is
how it goes. This is
how
the business.
Success goes. We busy. We can't be tripping. You
We
know what I
signed
mean?
up for it.
Yeah, this is what we signed up for. And it's like, nah, we need to just sit down. And then it starts to translate in the show. It's like, well, damn, bro, like, your energy was kind of off. What's up? You know what I mean? And then at the end of the day, we homies. So it's like, bro, what's up? Like, for real, what's up?
Right.
You know what I mean? And then you got to start having.
Because you don't want to fracture that at the end of the
Because
day.
that's the chemistry.
Yeah.
That's the Roy Mall Joe. It's like, we knew when shit was getting bad. Because it's like, damn, yo, you snapping at me on the
You
mic,
could
nigga,
see-
when
yeah,
we,
you
when we
could see
start
it in the
doing
show.
that. You know what I mean? Or like,
You
damn.
didn't want to, and then it puts you in that dilemma, like, man, dude, I don't want to mess up my boys' bag.
There you go. And so that's when we got to the point. It was just like, dog, again, like, it wasn't nothing drastic where we was beefing or nothing. It was just like, maybe we are doing too fucking much right now. And if you're voicing that this ain't really what you signed up for, but this is what I signed up for, let's hit the brakes. And then hitting the brakes, we was like, man, we're going to double back in a couple months. A couple months turned into like 6 months.
Got it.
Turned into the pandemic. Turned into...
Dog, and that, dog,
Turned into, damn, this shit ain't coming back, is it, bro?
you are totally explaining I Am Athlete, the Joe Budden podcast to a T.
To the T.
So
Yeah.
you have
shit, life is dope.
yeah.
So you went through it. You know exactly
So it's
what
like
it
that.
is.
So it's like damn. So it's like damn. It's like damn. It's like a self-fulfilling, inevitable thing that you're gonna have to hit, and you're gonna have to deal with. Because, like, for example, I Am Athlete, you have Brandon Marshall saying like, "Yo, let's strike while the iron's hot, man, and let's go to NASCAR shit and all this other stuff where we can ridiculously broaden this
Untapped
audience."
market, by the way.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
right?
no,
sure.
Yeah.
by us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Untapped.
But
yeah.
in terms of, like, you know, on the broad scale, they're killing that shit.
Yep.
They are.
But Joe Budden, like you said, in terms of being kind of overworked,
Yep.
they went from Wednesdays to Wednesdays and Saturdays,
To
right?
a whole ass network.
To a
Now-
whole ass network.
Now the Joe Budden podcast ain't even a priority because we got 3 other shows. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's growing like this.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so that's why you gotta make. That's the tough part, bro. That's the hard part, because the chemistry is what makes it a great product. But that chemistry could also be why the shit don't work. You know what I mean? It's like, all right, if this is where I'm going and this is where you want to stay, how do we meet in the middle? And that's where the connect was spawned from, because it's like, dog, I really like interviewing people. Like that little bit of time where we stopped doing podcasts, I'm like, fuck, man, like I missed that shit. Like I missed that energy of what we was doing, and it don't look like we tapping back in no time soon. So I'm gonna just keep doing what I'm doing, and I'm like, but I didn't want it to get weird. I'm like, I can continue Life is Dope, but then if it's just me without bro, it's gonna look away.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then the business side of it, it's like, damn, now I gotta restructure everything, and he gonna be like, damn, bro. You know what I mean? It looks away.
Absolutely.
So I'm like, fuck it, I got a pivot. You know what I mean? This is just me. This is my vision. I ain't gotta. I'm only holding me accountable. I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna talk to who I want to talk to.
Got it.
And I did that, bro. But you know, now I'm back in the same boat again.
What's your favorite podcast?
Right now? That shit changes constantly. Right now is The Bridge, Nas and this info.
Yeah.
Because I'm a hip hop head. But I think Rory and Maul might be creeping up. I can't enjoy Joe like I used to.
Man, I tell James all the time. I say for me, Roy and Maul's podcast is the blueprint in terms of a well done pod
Production.
Yes.
Because they know how to allow each other to get their shit off.
Yep.
They're clear. It flows. Like out of all the podcasts I think I've heard, they flow the best to me.
Creative. They got skits to go along with
that's
it,
what I was
which
about
is
to say.
nice.
They're killing that shit.
That's actually the key, bro, because the way content creation is moving, I'm watching them to a T because they get it from a content side. So like my earlier point about like how we don't like to sit and listen, sometimes I can't sit and listen to Rory and Maul because I can hear that they trying to figure it out. You know what I mean? Like they're trying to find their voice. They're trying to get it together. But then they'll drop a skit on YouTube and it'd be funny as hell.
Right.
Or they'll do like some little stuff like where they was with the dude, the security trainer. You know what I mean? Learning
Dust.
the self-defense. They making
Detroit.
content.
Yeah.
So it's like they get it. But I mean, you know, Drink Champs. I don't know, bro. All I listen to is podcasts.
I mean, that pivot is good, man.
It's good.
It is
dude.
good.
Like Ryan
pivot is
Clark.
good.
Ryan Clark to me facilitates the shit out of that show.
Yeah.
Got it. Well, man, we're glad that you and Davey are back, and you got a new addition with Danae Simone. We've had her on the show, and it's a good vibe. I like what y'all got going over there. So you want to plug anything else before we let you go, man?
Wait.
Oh,
Yes. As always.
The B mic has something to say.
Get the B mic. And he got mad when I said, the A mic.
Go ahead, man.
No, real talk. We always ask this question at the end.
What's up?
Is so number one, we appreciate you being a part of the vibe.
Thank you.
Who's dope that you would want to have on this show?
On this show.
Attainable. Anybody's attainable.
No, we can shoot for the moon.
attainable,
Shoot for the moon. He got the connect, man.
Plug. Gustavo over here.
I'm trying to think, man, because I mean,
there's
there's
a handful of people like whatever. Just throw them out.
Just throw 'em out.
We try. We just try to stay library.
I'm trying to actually curate the, you know what I mean? Be like, yo, this show is dope. I do think y'all should have a few comedians on here. I think given y'all's vibe and kind of the content matter that y'all have, I think it'd be really dope to see like a Chico Bean on here.
All right,
Yeah, Chico,
Yo, he still ain't cut his hair. Like, yo, he got the JC, but his is like
It's Fred Sanford.
he braids that shit.
Does he?
He got imagine the JC braided.
I never seen him without the hat.
So Chico Bean, who else?
JC, it looks good.
I would say
you keep
Chico
it clean,
Bean,
man. You keep it clean.
I would say on a local level, I could see y'all talking to like a Kevin Cain.
Okay.
Kevin, we trying to get him on.
I'll tell Kev, man. I could see that. I might be typecasting y'all, but I'm trying to go off energy and age.
No. That's cool, man. Whoever you
Kevin
think.
was already on the list.
Yeah, we got Kev.
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean,
you got anybody else? You don't have to.
y'all ask me, bro. Like,
All right, we gonna ask you, man.
Like,
You got the
that
plug
already,
and the
man.
connect,
like,
man.
I like to offer my Rolodex, bro, because sometimes certain shit don't work for what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like, I know there are certain guests that we've mentioned because we are going to start transitioning into like checking in with guests on the check-in. And we've mentioned a few names, or like there'll be a few people in town that just might not really quite fit the wild shit that we talking about on that show.
Yeah.
But yeah, man.
Bring one of us on,
So,
man, or all of
what
us.
I heard is we're second tier. That's what I heard.
That's what I heard.
Oh,
that's what I heard.
That's cool.
That's
I
what I
hear
heard.
that at
You gotta
all,
start
man.
somewhere,
No,
man.
you got to. You
When I
got
say
to.
different
You got
markets,
to.
fam, different markets.
We get that leftover meat.
But that's why we here. Like, so that's why I appreciate that you're here, because you are in our space, and look, you extending the olive branch, man, which is awesome, man.
So
So
we got to, podcasters got to stick together, especially black
Yeah,
people.
yeah, man. Shout out and applause to Graffiti for joining the show, man. Thanks a lot.
Well, shout out to Black Podcast, man. How about that?
Absolutely. And you never stumble upon the unexpected if you stick to the familiar. So go out there and do dope shit.
Hey.
Don't oppress positive energy. All right, let's go.
This podcast.